Okay, well...
Long tangent, sorry.
No, it's okay. I did not expect... I forgot about part 2. I'm just really upset because... So here's what I'm going to do. Because I can't not have some Friday the 13th on here, but he's taken the best 2 by far. And...
You can have Jason X.
I love 3. I love 4. 6 would be a good one. But here, I do feel like 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't really necessarily want 3 and 4 without 1 and 2. I mean, I'm not saying I won't take them, but I think what I'm going to do is actually jump way ahead. We'll go more the fun route. And I'm going to, in my slasher number 2, I'm going to put Freddy versus Jason.
Nice.
Yeah.
I have seen that one, and I did like that one.
It's fun.
It's fun.
Yeah.
It
took me way too long to understand the point of Freddy, right? Like, I didn't catch that there's, like, some tongue-in-cheek comedy. I was just like, he's going to kill me in my sleep? That was enough for me to be, but...
Yeah.
My appreciation for those things didn't come until I was an adult.
Okay. So my next pick, I'm going to jump to vampires.
Oh, boy.
And I am going to take What We Do in the Shadows.
Oh, whoa. He snatched that
I know,
right up.
because
oh
it could go in horror comedy as well. So I might move it later, but for now, it's my favorite vampire movie of all time.
That's great.
I have to have it there.
Yeah, that's a solid pick. That's interesting.
I didn't know that you had seen that. But I would be curious to know. Like, I for some reason was on the fence as to whether you'd think it was awesome or not.
I loved it, yeah.
Yeah?
The movie. I haven't seen the series, but I really enjoyed the movie.
Because saw the movie and watched the series. The series is like a must-watch. It is so good. So is the movie. The movie's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that was good because I think that was a smart thing to do. I feel that vampires are fairly thin, and the horror comedy is surprisingly plentiful. And in the last 5 years, that's been the strongest thing that the horror... Man, yeah, the horror comedies that have been coming out in the last 5 years, they're fantastic.
This is what has ultimately brought me back into watching horror. Horror comedy is the sweet spot for me, and so I find myself enjoying horror movies now because of that. At least more than I did. I'm
normally I like the old 80s stuff. I mean, I'm with Jeremy. That is the pinnacle of horror. But I feel in the horror comedy, like, that started to become more of a thing in the late 90s. Recently, it's by far the best. And so, that's interesting. I'm going to kind of do something like Jeremy just did. My strategy's just out the window now. I'm, like, all over the place. But I am not a big zombie movie fan. It's my least favorite. If I was to, like, discard a category of horror, it'd be zombies. So what I'm going to do is for my number 1 zombie pick, I'm going to pick Shaun of the Dead.
Yeah, good choice.
Solid.
I do have a question, though. I think What We Do in the Shadows may be considered a controversial pick in terms of it being horror. I guess
it's not scary. No,
well, not necessarily scary, but like what are the things that you would deem as like a required checklist of what you would
think if you include werewolves and vampires, it gets in.
Okay. That's the
even if
caveat
it's
there.
not-
Plus,
Yeah.
it's got some pretty horrific scenes.
Yeah, you got gore. You've got.
Oh yeah, I'm just. It's hard to separate. It seems more comedic to me, like when he first bites that. First
Well, it is
like,
comedic, but it's a
You found
horror
the blood
comedy.
and that's
Yeah.
Okay.
Those
Sorry,
those vampires are based on old horror movie vampires. Like
Well,
the
'cause
one
when-
is based on like Gary Oldman's Dracula. There's like
Yeah.
the Nosferatu guy.
Because
And those
you said What We Do in the Shadows, and obviously I haven't prepared a list, but I was thinking to myself, what would I have chosen? And it would have been What We Do in the Shadows, and then after that, I don't know what I would pick, because, I feel like vampires movies, they made a good point that I hadn't even really thought about. Pretty skimp in terms of what super legitimate, classic, horror or just...
You start listing them, there's a surprising small amount of good movies in some of these categories.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you took Shaun of the Dead for zombie. Well, my next pick is also going to be a zombie, and it, for me, is the quintessential zombie movie, the granddaddy of zombie movies, Night of the Living Dead.
Okay. Okay, I like this for two reasons. It's an obvious number one pick normally. Yeah, it's a good pick. It wasn't on my list, so I also like that you just used a pick that I wasn't going to take. And that's probably because of my lack of just love for zombie movies. Man. Okay. I don't know if you like this movie enough to take it, but I want to make sure and get, because, as we said earlier, Werewolf is so thin, I'm going to pick my favorite werewolf movie, which is Silver Bullet. Good classic 80s. Gary Busey doing what he does. It is maybe the lone Stephen King movie, in my opinion, that feels like a Stephen King book. Even though it doesn't really resemble the book itself, it feels like a... And I think Stephen King did...
Tone,
yeah, totally.
Yeah, hits the mark.
I believe he did the screenplay.
I can't remember if you did or not.
I think so.
This is a solid pick. I'll give you that.
Yeah.
It was not on my list.
You're more interested in stealing stuff off of his.
Well, no, it's just that I could have drafted that later.
Yeah.
See, I'm busy drafting Silver Bullet, and he's grabbing up Friday the 13th Part 2, and I'm like, that's a problem.
I told you I was coming into this prepared.
Well, okay, so I guess there's a question, Chris, because it keeps coming up. If, for example, you had gone with Friday the 13th and you didn't get the thing, I mean, like, he could have chosen it as a spite pick or just as like a...
I wouldn't have done that.
Yeah, I don't think you'd have done that.
Yeah. So
I would have been upset.
I guess there is a scenario where you could have had Friday the 13th and the thing in there.
Yeah.
I get it. Now I understand why you're so sad.
Yeah. Okay, so my next pick, this is going to be crazy. You ready for this?
Yeah.
I'm picking one, not sure where I want to use it yet.
Okay.
But I want to make sure that I get this movie.
We're going to put it as a floater here.
It is a floater. And it is
there
where...
a floater category?
No, I guess we could
by
stick
the end
it
of
in.
this,
We
you
could
have to
stick it in
decide.
miscellaneous.
Oh, it has
for
to.
now or
It has to
something.
be in one of these.
Okay.
But it fits so perfectly in a couple different categories for me. So
This must be something I like.
I'm pretty sure it's something you like. I'm just gonna stake a claim on Evil Dead 2 right now.
Oh, he's jumped to Evil Dead 2. Okay. Yeah, that's a great.
I
pick.
am interested to see what category you'd put that one in.
It could go a lot of places.
Are we
It
not
can
declaring a category yet?
go
Or
a
just...
lot.
I
think you kind of have to declare a category.
no,
It
because
doesn't
Chris
really
and I
matter 'cause
decided
we
that
can-
we can
he
move
can
things
move it.
around.
Oh yeah, okay.
And I'm writing in pen, so I don't want to write it somewhere, knowing that it
Yeah,
could be
me
moved.
too.
It could go in zombie. It could go in creature. It could go in comedy.
Yeah.
I think if you classify
Theoretically,
it, as
it
a
could
zombie
go in
versus-
remake or reboot because they essentially remake the
Evil
first
Dead
Evil
2
Dead.
could, yeah.
That's true. Oh, but okay,
Yeah.
so you're going with like the Sam Raimi original Evil Dead 2?
Yeah, Evil Dead 2.
Okay. Not. Oh, well, they didn't make.
Yeah, they
Evil
never
Dead-
made a
they
sequel.
just, they just did the
Yeah.
first one as like a reboot, remake,
I don't
Reboot.
even know.
reboot.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there was talk of doing it as like merging the two universes and having
Okay.
Bruce Campbell come back, but I think that was killed by Ash vs. Evil Dead, which I'm fine with because it's a fun show.
I haven't watched it yet, but I love Bruce Campbell.
Check it out.
I haven't
Okay.
had- What is it on? Was it on Stars?
Uh huh.
Yeah.
This is fun. This is fun. I'm really having to make some decisions now. And I like this. I think you're gonna like this, Jeremy. I'm gonna jump down to remake/reboot.
Dang it.
I'm gonna go ahead and take the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2003 remake. It was very, very good.
Was that in the same slot? The remake, reboot.
That was going to be my first, or yeah, I guess we only
pick
had.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh no, we did. We changed it to 2.
Yeah.
Originally, we were going to have 1 remake, and then
there
were just too many.
Yeah, that is a solid pick.
Yeah.
I did love me a Texas Chainsaw
Yeah.
Massacre remake.
It was really good.
That one.
It might be like for me. I would rather take it than the original. I think.
Oh, yeah.
I just chose it before the original, so.
I was nervous that if I had said that, I'd be made fun of. But that's definitely where I come down on that. Like, of that whole franchise, that's the one for me that I like the most.
Yeah.
I
I think I do.
I like Texas Chainsaw 2 quite a bit, but the remake is probably the best one of the entire franchise.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's rare to be able to say that. That might be the only time you can ever say that. But
Well, would you say that about Evil Dead 2 versus Evil Dead?
I actually like Evil Dead better.
Okay, I mean, because that is...
I'm an Evil Dead 2 person.
I'm
now.
an Evil Dead 2 type of guy, right? But I think that is probably...
That's a personality thing, I think.
Yeah. It sounded like you're saying that's a personality flaw.
No. I know there's
I
Evil
know.
Dead 2 people and there's Evil Dead 1 people.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
we all love them all.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, I'm just being funny. Or trying.
All right. I'm going to jump to horror comedy.
Oh, crap. Here these go.
And this is mean because you introduced me to Ready or Not.
Oh.
Oh, okay.
No, it's good. Go for it. You're taking Ready or Not.
Ready or Not for horror comedy. One of the most fun horror movies of the last few years. I had such a blast with that movie.
It's so good. It could probably fall into a few categories, but that is the one it really belongs in. And yeah, I like that pick. It's high on my list. Here's the thing with the horror comedy, like, I'm upset to see that go, but then I look at the other ones that are still available, and it's like, okay.
Yeah.
It's just, it's such, there's been so many, man, maybe we should have made it bigger, but I think it's good that it's not. Okay, I think it's time for me to start hitting this category. This one, much like the comedies, the paranormals, there's so many movies that I love and would love to have on my roster. And I'm going to be upset about... I can't have them all, and I'll be upset about not having any of them.
Mm-hmm.
But... So I think what I want to do, though, I think I want to go a little more classic. I'm going to go with The Omen.
Oh.
Yeah, we're going classic. I think The Omen is a great movie. And I think if you like a movie like The Exorcist, but don't want to just go through that, The Omen is a lot more rewatchable.
Yeah. Yep.
And yeah, I like it better.
Okay, I am going to switch gears, and I'm going to do my list out of order a little bit, just because I'm worried that you're going to steal a paranormal one from me.
I know what it is. I almost took it.
It's The Changeling.
Yeah, I almost took it.
And it would be fair because I took Ready or Not from you, because I introduced you to The Changeling.
Yes, you did.
But
and
there has never been a ghost movie as good as The Changeling, and I don't know if there ever will be.
It is so good. And if you're listening, most likely you're a listener to the show, The Changeling is a horror movie about a composer. So,
and it has classical music in it.
Yeah, it is the movie for you of all these.
Chris and Jeremy introduced me to The Changeling. My wife and I, it would have been last year, huh? Around this time. And yeah, I can definitely say it is so good. And my wife is like the most prone to jump scare, scaredy cat person. She makes me feel like I can handle any movie. And I've already admitted as being a scaredy cat. And it was totally palatable for both of us. And not only that, really good. Extremely good. Storyline's great. The way that it's made is great. Sound design is amazing. It's about a composer.
It's paced very well.
Oh, yeah. It's really, 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 really good.
It's
what
a
is that?
slow burn, but does not feel slow.
Yeah. Is it PG-13 even? And maybe
It's
did
R.
it release with an R, but now it'd probably get a PG-13.
It would. Yeah, I think it would be PG-13 now. There's really no reason for it to be R. There's no gore. There's no violence, really. I
guess there's one element of like, we don't want to talk about. We don't want to spoil anything, but
there's one shot. There's a nude child at one point, and I think if they made it today, they probably wouldn't put that in.
Right.
But it's also like, I mean, it's a naked little kid.
Yeah.
So I don't feel like it should be rated R.
Okay.
Both good picks, I'd say.
Yeah. All right. I think I know what I want to do next. I'm going to jump down to... I'm going to fill my sequel slot. And I am going to put in the 2018 Halloween.
Dang.
So, if you don't know, Halloween, there's like 3 different timelines now. And this one basically discards every sequel and takes place like 30-something years later, 40 years later, whatever it is. after the original movie, and it is, I think, it's so good.
Stellar.
I think it's as good as you're going to see slashers be today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
They also they've got another one coming.
Yeah,
right?
they're doing more.
In that new timeline, right?
Yeah, there's two more. It's going to be a trilogy.
How are they going to... Okay.
We'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
But for
Postponed
now,
a
this
year.
one... Yeah. But this one
COVID.
That was
is...
supposed to come out this
Yeah,
this
they
month.
postponed it for Corona. Halloween
Jeremy and Chris
kills.
also introduced my wife and I to that remake of it. Is that a remake or a reboot? That's a reboot.
It's a
Rebooting their
reboot.
franchise.
We could
Because
call it a
it's a
reboot,
sequel.
Yeah, 'cause they're not
but
yeah.
I'm putting
Yeah.
it in the sequel slot.
And Ren and I, we watched the first one leading up to this. We watched the first one and then that one at your guys' place, and it was totally enjoyable. So
It was a blast.
I haven't seen many of the other Halloween movies, but experiencing just the first one and then this most recent one that came out was excellent.
That's enough. There's other ones that are great.
Yeah.
But not a lot. And they discarded the timeline, so. All right. I am going to snatch up. I'm going to put it in zombies for now, but I might move it to comedy, and that is Return of the Living Dead.
Oh, yeah.
That's one that I saw as a kid. It was on, there was a network that would play edited horror movies on like Saturday afternoons. Well, not just horror, but they would play edited movies on Saturday afternoons, and I caught that, and it scared me to death. But then I saw it as an adult, and it's one of the funniest things I've ever seen.
Yeah, that's a solid pick. I like your zombies. Night of the Living Dead and Return of the Living Dead.
Yeah.
That's a perfect pair.
Yep.
That's a perfect pair.
So, Chris, you said you'd remove that whole caption if you could from the...
Not if I could. I'm just saying if I had to discard one style of horror
Gotcha.
movie. There are a few zombie movies I love. Is Shaun of the Dead's one.
Right. So are you guys...
It's just not
Are you guys
overall.
occult zombies or like viral plague, or viral zombies? Right.
I don't care.
Kind of the two camps.
Yeah, I just
Not
it
polarized
Just
at all.
however well it's
Yeah.
pulled off.
Both
It
are
just
good.
doesn't. It's for whatever reason they just don't hit a nerve with me at all to scare me in any
Gotcha.
way. Like but I can enjoy it. I think it'd be a good time to recap where we're at so far. So, we're about halfway there. So, my team, the 13ers, I've got 2 slashers. We've got Halloween and Freddy vs. Jason. Got 1 werewolf so far, Silver Bullet. 1 zombie, Shaun of the Dead. Both creature movies are taken, The Thing and Jeepers Creepers. Paranormal, I've got The Omen. I've got the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake. And I've got the 2018 Halloween. And the Deadites have Friday the 13th in the first slasher part. Vampire, What We Do in the Shadows. He's got his first werewolf, American Werewolf in London. He's got a solid zombie movie roster with Night and Return of the Living Dead, Ready or Not, in holiday horror. Comedy. I wrote it. Dang it.
Wait, you guys have a category for holiday horror?
Yeah.
I love
wrote
that.
this.
I'm excited to hear the
Okay,
pitch
Ready
for
or
that.
Not in horror comedy. There's good ones there too.
I'm going to get the best Arbor Day horror movie you've ever heard of.
He's got the Changeling, solid pick. He's got in his sequel slot Friday the 13th Part 2, and then floating uncategorized yet is Evil Dead 2.
Yep.
Okay, that's where we are so far, and it's back to my pick, right?
I
yeah.
just did Return
Yep.
of the Living Dead.
Okay. I think I'm gonna jump to holidays now. Yeah, I gotta.
Now's the time.
Ooh, I feel like if I pick one, I'm gonna lose the other. Oh my gosh, do I go with classic or do I go with modern? I'm gonna go with childhood. I'm gonna go with Gremlins.
Okay.
I feel like I just let something really good go. Gremlins is a good Christmas watch. It's barely a horror movie, but is it a horror movie? Was this on our list?
Yeah, it was. Because I had it as one of my alternates, too.
Okay. I mean, I'm happy,
It's a good pick.
but
it's a good pick.
Yeah.
I think where you're getting concerned, Chris, is that you're choosing very personally the ones that you just want to hug up in a big family, your favorites.
I got a few Christmas movies. I can't have them all.
You split on the Christmas movies.
Yeah, there's great horror Christmas movies.
Yeah.
All right, I think you are expecting that I'll probably hurry and jump into the holiday stuff because you think I'm probably worried that you're going to take something.
Uh-huh. Are you not, though?
No, I'm actually going to jump back up to slashers, and I'm going to take Nightmare on Elm Street.
Dang it. I feel like I have to just play defense. I'm like running back and forth. Wait. No. The original Nightmare
on Elm Street.
Really the only one I wanted. Oh.
You got Freddy versus
I got Freddy
Jason.
versus Jason, yeah. So I am without an original Freddy or Jason movie. I just have the big mashup. Okay. Well, do I just go ahead and take that other holiday? Maybe. I mean, there's other.
There are
other ones too. I don't have to have that one because there's other ones too. I need a third slasher though. And now my slashers category is looking weird. I got Halloween. I got Freddy vs. Jason. And I don't have my two favorite Friday the 13th. So, what I might do, let's see. I might have to come back to slasher. I might go a weird route with the slasher. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to actually hold off on that decision. I'm going to jump back down to paranormal. I'm going to take one of my other favorite movies, The Fog.
Nice.
Yeah, good
The
choice.
Yeah, the John Carpenter.
Okay. I figured as much.
I haven't seen the remake.
It's all right.
I like the old one a lot.
It's a solid first half, I would say.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
For sure. Like, if you're feeling like you just want to see something you haven't seen like before, it has enough like reminiscence and it's good enough.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Okay. That's a good sell on it.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm putting it on my list here.
Yeah. I don't think it would end up in like a rotation of gotta watch this, with some type of regularity, but
Yeah.
All right. I think I have to get it. I don't know that you would take it, but I'm gonna go with Arachnophobia in My Creatures.
Oh.
Interesting.
Really? I mean it's on my watch, but that's high. That's a good one.
That was one of the ones I was allowed to watch as a kid.
Yeah.
It was PG-13. And it was so scary as a child.
Yeah.
And so fun as an adult.
Is Jeff Daniels in that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I'm just making sure I'm remembering it right.
Yeah. It's a good
John
one.
Goodman.
Yeah. John Goodman's got a great character
John
in
Goodman.
it.
You're right. I haven't seen that in a really long time, but yeah, I remember
Yeah,
watching
that's
that.
It's a
quite
great
a bit.
movie.
I would have watched that a lot because I could actually get a night's sleep after watching that one. I could watch that and then sleep, so I ended up watching it.
Okay. I haven't touched horror comedy yet. I think it's time to start. So I have like 1, 2, 3 movies here that I love really all equally and would be happy with any of them. And then I have a one must-have.
So just to clarify for me, in this category, this is movies that are intended to be comedic, not
Yes.
movies that are accidentally or
Yeah,
conveniently
right.
comedic,
Right.
unintentionally so.
So-
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I got you. Because there are a lot of movies that were meant to not be comedic that are totally comedic. Yeah.
Right.
So of these 3 I'm looking at, the one I've seen most recently, I really, really loved, but it's like, is it because I just saw this one? Like, that's where I'm leaning to. Or do I go with this other one that I've watched several times and still continue to I think it's brilliant. Oh my gosh, all 3 of them are so good. Oh, it hurts to let any of them go. I'm going to pick Tucker and Dale versus Evil.
Dang.
Yeah.
So freaking funny, man. If any of you don't know, if you have any love of horror, you need to see Tucker and Dale. It's brilliant. I don't want to give anything away. It's basically about like some college kids who go into the hills.
It does such a good job at poking at like some common tropes.
And it's like it's kind of like a Deliverance situation, right? Like some college kids going into the hills, and there's like these scary hillbillies. This movie's told from the perspective of the scary hillbillies. It's amazing.
Fantastic.
Highly recommended. Yeah.
But
I know I let some good movies go to pick that too.
And I think the one that you were thinking of taking was actually higher on my list than Tucker and Dale.
Really?
Which is Happy Death Day.
Yeah, Happy Death Day was I loved Happy Death Day so much. And that's the recency thing. It's like I just saw it and I loved it and I want to buy it.
So Happy Death Day is my second horror comedy.
That's a great pick.
Ren and I watched the first one and then the second one, and then like 4 days later we watched the first one again. So we love that movie. If you guys haven't watched that one, it's really good. I was gonna say on Tucker and Dale versus Evil, I watched that movie with knowing nothing about it, not even seeing the promo poster for it. I watched it strictly on the fact that I love Alan Tudyk, and I wouldn't say this is a rule I live by, but when life presents me an opportunity to watch something that Alan Tudyk is in, for whatever reason, I just have to watch it. And I was just so wonderfully surprised at how spectacular that movie is.
So surprisingly good.
Yeah, oh, it's so great.
These movies, they've got such a great mix of just hilarity and gore.
Yeah.
And
those are both super
wholesomeness,
stellar.
That
picks,
Carter, he's just so wholesome.
Yeah.
I want to just sit here and draft horror comedies.
Horror comedies, there are a lot.
There's
next year.
Yeah, there's another. I'm gonna pull back on this. I mean I can always use that miscellaneous category to squeeze in another.
Is there only one slot for the horror
we have
comedy?
two horror comedies. Jeremy's got Ready or Not.
Oh yeah.
I've got Tucker and Dale.
Okay.
Oh, but you just used Happy Death Day.
So you have an open slot for horror comedy.
But I kind of have a movie that I think has to be there.
Was Tucker and Dale your must-have?
No.
No?
I didn't draft the must-have. I drafted, there was 3.
Okay.
I'll tell you what, I'll say what they are once.
Was Tucker and Dale on your list?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
If Chris had taken Happy Death Day, I would have taken Tucker and Dale.
Oh, okay. So it came down to those two. Interesting.
Yeah.
The drama.
Maybe we can borrow each other's movies once in a while. No, that would defeat the point.
I don't loan out movies.
Oh, that's right. Okay. Where were we? Oh, you know what I'm going to do? What do I do about this third slasher? I'm so confused on what to do. You know what? It's okay. I'm going to go ahead and take Friday the 13th, part 3. Or do I want 4? No, we're going to go part 3. It's without 1 and 2. It's still, I got to have just a good classic Jason movie. I think part 3 is better than some people give it credit.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's not without its flaws, but I do feel that the first 2 are far and away the best, but I think 3 and 4 are still pretty strong.
Yep.
And then it takes a dip for a while. 6 is good. 7 and 8 are almost unwatchable. 9 is pretty much unwatchable. Anyway.
Based on the merit of what the new
on
Halloween movie ended up being, would you be excited or upset if they announced that they were rebooting that franchise now?
Friday the 13th?
Yeah.
Oh, I'd be excited.
We're always excited for a new Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
Gotcha, okay.
I think they should keep making those movies forever. I don't think you need to reboot it. Just make another one.
Just keep going more and more and more. I got you.
It can be like James Bond. I mean, you don't have to.
You don't need to tie it into others. Like they could even go I'd rather they went like the new Halloween route and discard the sequels. There's enough of a supernatural element to it that it can just kind of exist any time or place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But I would like it to still take. I like it better when it's at the lake.
Right.
You know, those sequels, they started. I mean, you start going farther and farther away from Camp Crystal Lake until you get to outer space. It loses its charm.
Which is the one where it's not even really him? It's like
5.
Spoiler
alert. We might need to cut that out.
Oh,
no.
You cut it out. Cut it out. cut that out.
You just spoiled a 35-year-old movie. How dare you?
But don't let the village idiots spoil stuff.
We do not spoil anything about 1. That's all I ask.
Yeah.
But
that's a good point.
Well,
a 35-year-old
I already did,
movie.
so you might have to cut that out.
Oh, you know what? Never mind. No, we're not cutting that out.
40 years old.
Yeah,
Chris.
come on. Get over it, people.
That's a really
What
good
did I?
point.
What just happened? Did you pick or I pick?
You picked Friday 3 for your third slasher.
Oh yeah, I just didn't finish writing it out here. Okay.
And I'm going to go ahead and finish out my slashers with Scream.
Oh, Scream snuck in there.
Nice.
That was a good call. I'm still okay without Scream because, yeah. Okay. Now we're back to difficult things. Do you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna do something I really wasn't planning on doing. But with your draft of Evil Dead 2, actually I feel like a lot of what I have left are things I'm not too worried about you taking. But there are things I'm worried about you. I'm not. I gotta what I've got to make a decision is how to fill up my miscellaneous pile. Do you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna do something I really wasn't planning on doing. But with your draft of Evil Dead 2, I'm gonna come down to miscellaneous. I'm not gonna draft Evil Dead 1, as much as I love it. I'm gonna go a different direction. I'm gonna draft Drag Me to Hell.
Nice.
Yeah, good pick.
That's the first movie I took my wife to see when we were dating.
Oh, really? You guys, that's where you guys fell in love at the movie theater to see Drag Me to Hell.
Oh, no. We were already in love. She had pined after me for years.
Yeah. I actually feel like if I didn't come home with Drag Me to Hell in the bag, my wife might disown me, so...
She might drag you to hell?
Yeah, she didn't push me over the cliff as the ground closes. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I'm kind of at the same point. There's a lot that... I like all of these movies, and I don't know... There's none at this point that I'd be, like, heartbroken if I lost.
Right.
And I can make it work with a lot of these because I've got my power hitters now. So I'm going to go to vampires.
I bet you're going to take what I almost just took.
Maybe not.
Maybe not.
I might surprise you. I'm going to go with Fright Night.
You did surprise me.
The remake of Fright Night.
Oh!
Though.
He's putting a remake not in his remake.
Yep.
That's interesting.
I love the original. It is good fun, but it does not hold up terribly well.
Yeah, it doesn't.
And the remake was so fun. And just a really good, scary vampire movie.
Yeah. I think of the two, it's the better one probably. But yeah, I didn't have that on my list, to tell you the truth. I have a couple. There's not very many great vampire movies, but I do love the ones I like.
I was just thinking about this, because since you mentioned it at the beginning of this, really, where there's like not a lot to dig for in terms of really good zombie or vampire movies, I was just thinking, what would you classify as the category on your guys' list? You don't have to answer now, but just thinking as we're going through the rest of the draft, that has the largest amount of lame movies. Like, which category has the most lame movies? Because I'm thinking of a lot of vampire movies that I think are really lame.
It depends on if you,
but they don't even really count as horror movies, a lot of them, which is why they're probably
like
in the lame
2,000
category.
Christopher Lee Dracula.
Yeah.
Peter Cushing Dracula
Do you get what I'm
movies.
saying? Like, but like of the categories, do you think there's one that is just like bloated with like a lot of crap?
I would say probably slasher.
Yeah, that's my instinct too.
It's easy to make a cheap slasher movie, and especially after Halloween and Friday, they just went nuts. And there's so many bad slasher movies.
Okay. Yeah, and I've seen so many, but they're not even on my list because I just knew I wouldn't draft them.
Gotcha.
Like on this master list we made.
Yeah, I gotcha. Okay.
But and yet I enjoy those.
Yeah.
There's plenty I enjoy. Like, here's a good bad movie, The Town That Dreaded Sundown. I think is a lot of fun. I guess it's actually before Friday, isn't it? Is it before Halloween? It's not great, but there's a lot of kind of things like that it's actually, I really like it, but it's never going to end up on this team I'm drafting. You know, it's not a strong player. And then you have just tons of awful ones.
Right. Well, so here's another question I was just thinking of. What are your guys' take on, like, movies or movies that come out that are trying to bump into horror elements that are completely not horror movies? Like, what was the movie that came out a couple years ago about, it's like a zombie movie, but it's like a love story.
Warm Bodies.
Warm Bodies.
Oh, Warm Bodies.
That kind of tangentially also with like you got like Twilight. It's got vampires and like using quotes werewolves.
Wait, what's your question?
Like
Twilight.
Where
is
do you guys come
not...
down on stuff where they're taking horror elements or horror specific stuff and like not really even
not
doing those things well. They're just using like Pride and Prejudice, zombies, you know, stuff
That's
like that.
fun.
Where it's
Yeah,
like
I liked that one.
I didn't
like a
love the movie,
like a
but
pop
the book was
culture.
great.
It's like I guess it's a pop culture approach to horror
yeah.
tropes. You know what I mean? Is it kind of a hit or miss? Because you could.
It's whatever. I'm fine with horror popping up in other things, and that's been around forever. Like when I was a kid, Elvira, Mistress of the Dark. I wouldn't consider that a horror movie, but it's got horror elements. I mean,
Right.
I guess we could throw it in like horror comedy or something.
I'm
but
much more offended by bad horror.
Yeah.
Just
Okay,
like
I
bad
guess
horror.
maybe
like the
that-
Hostel
maybe-
franchise.
Yeah,
Things
okay.
along
Well,
that.
So
yeah.
maybe that's the question really to ask. Because one thing, because Hostel one thing that has made me as an adult completely shy away from horror movies up until really meeting you guys was I've told you this before. I worked at the Grand Canyon, and during the month of October, the guys in the dorm that I lived in. We lived like 2 hours away from like the closest town with like a Walmart, but they would do this thing where like everyone would send like $5 with a person on their day off, and they would just go raid like the cheap movie bins. And what they had done for like months previous was they just hoarded every horror movie that ended up in those bins. And then the idea was that horror movies would just be nonstop going in the guy's dorm for like the entire month of October. And I was super into it when it first started because we were watching stuff like Halloween, and you know, we were watching like the foundational staple stuff, and it was really great. But you plow through those quickly, and then you get to stuff like Hostel. I mean, I can't even remember what the franchise is called, but the one that was like the nail in the coffin for me, it's got like this like teenagers going out into the woods, but there's like this incestuous family.
Wrong Turn.
Wrong Turn, right? They just rapid fire watched all the Wrong Turn movies, and that just like halfway through like the second or third movie or whatever, I was like, ugh, I'm done.
It's a different kind of horror fan.
And like since then, I just, until really like meeting you guys and hearing you guys gush about it and getting back into it, like that was the thing that drove me away from watching those movies. Even being a scaredy cat, I did like that stuff for a really long time, and then that just was such a. And I would assume that like those type of movies aren't even on.
It's not on.
Like not on your
not on
guys'
my
list. I would assume.
Horror should be
No.
fun to watch. Even
Right.
if it's just scary, it should be fun to watch.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
You should have a good time watching. Whose pick were we on?
I don't remember.
Let's see. I chose Drag Me to Hell. Okay, we're 14-14, so Jeremy must have just made a pick. Was it Fright Night?
I think so.
Oh
We
yeah,
stopped at Fright Night.
Mhm.
Okay.
the remake.
Oh, man. Okay. I'm going to actually jump back to Holiday. There's been lots of time. I'm going to take Krampus. Have you seen Krampus, Parker?
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah, pretty good.
I almost died at Krampus.
Yeah. Jeremy lived through a horror movie at Krampus.
The guy threatened to kill me. Had to get security.
Oh, that was
That was
okay.
Krampus. All right, then while you're in Holiday, you're done with Holiday.
I'm done. Done with Holiday.
Well then, never mind, because, well, yeah, you've got slashers done already.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're good.
You know what I want, huh? The other one that I was thinking of.
I'm not positive.
Well, it'd be a slasher.
All right, then let's go for this. So I'm going to officially move Evil Dead 2 into my Creature 2 spot.
Okay.
I think I've been thinking about it since you picked it. Evil Dead 2 might be the best movie to be a chameleon for so many different genres,
It is.
right?
It is.
I can't really think of another movie that you could very convincingly slip into so many different
That's true.
categories.
Yeah.
Because there's some that like bleed into like 2, maybe 3, but Evil Dead you could put in like 5 or 6 of those categories.
Yep. So then that leaves, I'm going to, for remakes and reboots. For my first one, I'm going to do The Invisible Man.
Whoa, really? Oh, I did not see that coming.
Wait, which category is this for?
Remakes and reboots.
The most recent one?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Man.
So great.
I haven't seen it. This is the first, I think. I think this is the first I haven't seen movie.
I think that's out on streaming now. I saw it somewhere. Maybe it's HBO. I can't remember.
Yeah, I can't remember. We bought it when COVID shut everything down.
It was good.
We got the whole movie at home thing.
I think that represents such a good exercise in like how to adapt a concept or an idea with modern sensibilities. Do you know what I mean? Like the whole how that all is achieved is done so modern day convincing. Man, that was so good. Yeah, Ren and I went to that and it was hilarious. It wasn't meant to be a funny movie, but the whole theater was kind of cracking up at how much Ren was like shaking our whole row at like jump scares. Mostly not even real jump scares, just like the door opens, you know.
Okay, I'm going to answer that with a movie that I don't think you've seen. But it's definitely my favorite vampire movie, 30 Days of Night.
Yeah, I still haven't seen that.
So good.
It's on my DVR right now,
30
though.
Days of Night. That's the one that takes place in that snow village where like this,
North Alaska.
Yeah, where the sun doesn't come up for 30 days,
yeah.
right? Yeah. That one's cool.
Yeah. You've seen it then?
Yeah, I've
it's
seen
really
it.
Good. It's a solid
I think that was
movie.
when I just like stumbled across and thought the premise was really, really cool.
I think
and I hadn't heard anyone talk about it. I hadn't seen any promo for it. It was just like throw it on, and I was pleasantly surprised by it.
Yeah, I think when you get into like non-80s actually scary movies, like, you know, not counting horror comedies like in the 2000s, like that's up there for me. That Jeepers Creepers, there's just, you know. So I like that pick.
All right.
Feeling really good.
I'm going to finish out my paranormals with Poltergeist.
Oh, that's a good, yeah.
Which is another one that I was allowed to see as a kid.
I'm assuming we're talking the original.
The original, yep. Terrifying. And very well made.
Yeah, solid pick. Solid pick. There's two movies that I think you're going to be drafting. You must be saving them for last.
I think I know. I
don't think he's scared of me picking them.
There's one movie in particular that I'm really surprised
me.
Jeremy has not drafted yet.
Well, yeah, okay. I might just go for my second vampire right now. Yeah, really, the only vampire movie I really, really love is 30 Days a Night, but I really like these next two. And it's like, well, actually, I don't know, I guess there's more than I realized that I like. Or I guess I like these more than I realize because I'm having a hard time letting any of them go. we're gonna move away from that. I haven't made that decision. I'm gonna go to horror comedy number 2. Here's my must-have: Tremors. Tremors is probably in my like top 10 favorite movies of all time.
I hadn't even been thinking of Tremors, but now that you said it, it's like, yep.
Yeah, could go in Creature. I'm putting it in horror comedy. I love Tremors. I love it from beginning to end. Terrible sequels, but one of the greatest movies ever. Stop making Tremors movies. Just stop.
Or just bring Kevin Bacon back.
They tried. They were going to do a series.
Oh, yeah. You showed me, like, they even had scripts for that.
Got canceled. It sounded a lot better than...
It did, yeah. I forgot they were doing that.
All right.
Trying anyway.
For my second remake, I'm going to go with Dawn of the Dead.
I'm so surprised by that pick.
Really?
Yeah, I just was expecting you. Both those I did not see coming. Both your remakes.
I'm also surprised by that pick, but it's mainly because I really, really like Dawn of the Dead, but I have run into, like, people who think I'm an idiot for really liking Dawn of the Dead.
Oh, really?
I think it's super fun.
Yeah, I haven't seen it since it. So this was like early 2000s, right? Like
2004, I think.
Yeah. I saw it. I don't think I've seen it since the first time I saw it. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and take my second vampire movie. I'm actually really struggling to pick between these two. They're both foreign movies. One is A Girl Walks Home Alone at Night, which is one of the most bizarre movies you'll ever see. It's an Iranian vampire movie. It's amazing. It's weird. It's not for everybody, but it is so deathly slow. And yet you can't take your eyes off it. But because of its slowness, and I'm an impatient person, I'm going to go with a slightly less slower movie, Let the Right One In, which is really good.
That was my number 3 vampire.
Was it?
Yep. The original Swedish.
Yeah.
Not the remake.
Yes, I haven't even seen the remake, but I loved this movie a lot. I actually thought you were going to draft this one. I didn't think I was going to get it, and so I figured I'd be taking A Girl Walks Home Alone at Night.
Oh, because I'm Swedish? That's racist.
I didn't know it was Swedish. I knew it was European.
Oh, that's racist too.
Even
We just go
worse.
down the list of the ways I'm racist.
All right, I'm going to jump to holiday horror finally. And my number 1 pick is My Bloody Valentine.
Oh,
the
you're
original.
still empty. There. My Bloody Valentine. Huh. I didn't love that. I mean, I liked it.
I thought it was fun.
It was fun. Yeah, I liked it for sure. Slasher. There's a good slasher.
Yep.
Holiday. Fits a few ways. Have you seen the remake?
Yeah, I didn't love it.
Yeah, the original was better.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't hate the remake either. I didn't really get the point of it. Like, why, what'd they do that was worth redoing? I don't know. Okay. So I'm going to do the ones that I just kind of already know what I'm doing. I don't think... Yeah, see, the werewolf is so thin that, like, we didn't even have a battle over... You got American Werewolf. That was the only one that was really going to be a battle, I think.
Yep.
Would you have maybe taken Silver Bullet as your second?
Nope.
Oh, I'm curious what your second will be then. Because I bet my second isn't even on your list.
Well, let's do it. Let's do our second werewolves right now.
All right, I'm going to go with the Wolfman remake.
Yeah, I never saw it.
It's got Antonio Banderas.
No.
Banderas.
No.
Benicio del Toro.
Yeah, that's Guillermo
Anthony
del Toro.
Hopkins. Yeah, is it?
Yeah.
I thought it was very good. Actually,
I'm so surprised by that because I thought historically, or you don't like Del Toro movies.
I don't. I didn't know that was a
I'm
hit.
pretty sure-
Yeah, every now and then I do. I really like Mimic.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, I don't. I'm always surprised. Oh, he made that? Okay.
Yeah. Well, and I think he was more involved than just being the director too. I think he did like screenplay for it as well.
That's cool. Let's
Yeah.
just. Look.
Yeah.
I got nothing against the guy. Let's just say he's not going to be my
No,
coach.
yeah.
I'm not drafting him as my
I'm
coach.
just I was just surprised by it, but I totally agree because that would have been my first,
good.
that would have been my first pick for sure.
Of
Because-
werewolves?
Of Wolf, yeah, because
Really?
I really like Del Toro as a director, and I really like Benicio del Toro, and
Yeah, it's good. It's got a very good aesthetic to
you
it.
get both Del Toros in there, and it's a recipe for success for me.
Couple of bulls.
Yep. So I like that one a lot, quite a bit. So I was just surprised by that pick, but I totally agree. That would have been my top pick.
So for werewolf, for me, I went more humorous for my second pick. And I was bouncing back and forth between the original Fright Night. But then I decided, I don't know, I like the sequel better. I mean, the remake better. And the remake doesn't have the werewolf aspect. And I went back to my childhood to another one I was allowed to watch, which is one of my favorite horror comedies, but I'm using it as a werewolf, and that's Teen Wolf.
I was hoping that
Teen
one of you
Wolf.
would draft that.
Teen Wolf.
And I knew that.
Teen Wolf was not even on my radar. Oh my god.
This is honestly, this was kind of why I asked, like, what you would classify. That's why I asked about what we do in the shadows, because I was like, okay, Teen Wolf, I feel like is definitely going to be in the running at some point for Jeremy, either in comedy or for werewolf. But then when I saw Chris choose Gremlins, I was like, okay,
Yeah.
the classifier of it just having werewolves in it gets it in, but
I loved Teen Wolf. I remember as a kid trying to do my best, like, werewolf voice when he's asking for beer at the liquor store. I love Teen Wolf.
Yeah.
So we have 2 picks in our coach, right?
We have 3 picks in our coach.
3 picks in our coach?
There's 2 miscellaneouses.
Oh, 3. I saw it. Sorry, I missed that.
You've still got a holiday. I still have a zombie. So it's okay that we're not at this point battling for movies. I'm really curious to see what you're going to pick. So I'll just start going down my list. So for my other zombie movie, which should be no surprise to anyone based on how much I loved it and talked about it after I saw it, Let Sleeping Corpses Lie. Now, let me just say, because I had a friend, she practically yelled at me for recommending this movie because she hated it so much. She thought it was one of the worst things. She did not understand. I'm not telling you it's great. The acting is not good. It is the atmosphere of the movie that I just love so much about it. For one thing, it's a zombie movie. At any given time, I think the most zombies you have on screen are 3.
Interesting.
So it's not a horde of zombies movies. It's made in the 70s. It's half the movie's overdubbed and half of it's not. Some of the characters are clearly they didn't speak English, some did. The lead actress is pretty good. I don't think there's any other good acting in it. But I think the movie's just gorgeous. It's filmed mostly in England. It takes place, I think, in England. Yeah. And it's a very green movie. I just like it. I like the aesthetic of it, and it's hard to put my finger on, but I'm not recommending it because I don't want to get yelled at.
It's a very personal pick.
Yeah, it's totally. And it also shows the thinness of zombie movies.
Yeah. I gotcha.
All right. So I need to get my second holiday horror.
Yeah.
And this was really tough for me. I'm going to go with the one that I actually watch every year around the holiday, and that is Halloween 3. And I know that's
controversial pick.
A controversial pick, but I love Halloween 3. I love that it's different. It's not a Michael Myers movie. It's not one that really fits in many other categories.
Yeah.
But of all the Halloween movies, it's the one that's the most Halloween. The holiday itself is involved in the actual plot of the story more than any other Halloween movie. It was between that and Black Christmas.
Yeah, so that was... See, I wanted Black Christmas so bad.
Oh, really?
And yeah, I loved Black Christmas. And what I was starting to wish I'd done was put it as my third slasher.
Yeah. Well, it's too late now.
Yeah.
You could use it
we
as
miscellaneous. I don't know that I love it that much, considering everything that's still out there. But Black Christmas, yeah. But I'm real happy. I got Gremlins and Krampus. I'm pretty good with that. Did I write yours down? Oh, yeah, Halloween 3. Season of the Witch. Okay, so I guess I'll do my remake/reboot number 2. I'm going to go with the Suspiria remake. I freaking loved it. This might be a Texas Chainsaw situation for me. I really appreciate the original, but Jeremy actually introduced me to it. So I saw it much later in life than in most of these horror movies. And I liked it a lot. It's funny, Jeremy, you haven't seen this, but I know Jeremy's biggest complaint with remakes is when they just redo the movie again. He likes them to introduce something new. I think this movie, more than any other movie I can think of, had the perfect balance of keeping what you needed to of the old, but taking it a new direction that was interesting and original for sure. I love the Suspiria remake.
Nice. So I have both of my miscellaneouses left.
He's just got a free-for-all draw here.
Well, I'm using it for movies that don't really fit in any other categories for me.
That's, yeah. Well, I think I know what you might be picking.
The first one, you might not.
I might not.
The first one, this has been really, really tough. I'm going to go with Silence of the Lambs.
Oh.
Interesting. Okay.
Snuck up on me. That's a great movie.
Yeah.
It is.
Kind of surprises. I get it now, though. My first response was like, how is that not chosen yet? And I think the answer is that,
where does
it's
it
the
go?
opposite of Evil Dead, where Evil Dead 2, where do you put it? Where do you put it?
Do you know what? That's funny, because I think Silence of the Lambs is probably one of the best movies on both these lists.
Agreed.
But I never really was able to place it, and I was like, of this category, I want to make sure I get this and this.
Yeah.
I mean,
and
really something that's more drama than...
Oh.
Well, I mean...
That was a good pick.
Yeah. That was a really good pick.
I still think I know... So that means of 2 movies that I thought for sure Jeremy would take, he can't take both of them. I still think I know which one you're going to take, and I think I know why.
Well,
We'll discuss it after. I won't. I'll let
There-
you.
here's
I'll let
the
you
thing.
reveal. And
there are so many movies that I love, that I absolutely love, that there just wasn't a place for.
Yeah,
I mean, Paranormal Activity, It.
that's the one. That's
Okay.
the other.
Is
That's
that
the
the
Voice
other
to it,
one?
I think Chris and I are having the same reaction. Totally surprised that It is not in your draft so far because I know that you love It.
I loved
But-
It. It
Is
Chapter
it,
2
Is it Chapter 2 that killed
Yeah.
it?
took Chapter 1 down a notch.
That's what I thought.
okay.
That's what I was gonna say. I bet it was Chapter 2 that took this off the.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, and so then
Fair-
you're left
fair
with
enough.
a really good but incomplete movie.
I mean, I came into
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
feeling like it would have been in the top. Like, I feel like you would have picked It pretty high up.
And you're probably expecting Doctor Sleep is one of mine too, huh?
Yes, is it not?
Mm-mm.
Oh my gosh!
I
You're
hadn't
not
even-
taking
I
Doctor
hadn't-
Sleep.
I hadn't even really
I
thought of
love
Doctor Sleep.
but no. I'm
The
not gonna
two
take it.
movies that you and I have the biggest disagreement on, because of your affection for them, you're not even drafting. This did not go how I thought it was gonna go.
People, this is where the real
Yeah.
controversy
This guy is an enigma.
Chris and Jeremy have had many a conversation about both It and Doctor Sleep, and to have neither of them drafted, at least yet, by Jeremy is shocking.
Yeah, I'm left with one pick left, and this is like, I'll just say what movies are probably left at the top, and I'm worried that I'm actually probably forgetting something that I'm gonna later go, how did I not, like, that didn't even make the draft board or something I just missed. But right now, some of my favorite movies that haven't been drafted are the Mothman Prophecies. There's a movie called The Awakening, starring Rebecca Hall, that I saw a few. I've only seen it once. Here's the problem: Aaron and I watched it, and we both freaking loved it. And we bought the movie, and then we didn't watch it again because we'd just seen it. And then, like, a year or two later, we saw the movie for sale at a store, and we were like, "Oh my gosh, that movie's so good!" And we bought it again. So, and we came home to put it on the shelf, and there it was, and it was like, "Oh my." So I love the movie a lot. I bought it twice, but I haven't watched it since the first time I saw it. So it's hard for me to pick that one.
So
Another movie
This is the
that's sort
final
of-
miscellaneous pick
Yeah,
of both.
another
right?
movie
Okay.
that's kind of in that realm is a movie called The Others.
Oh,
Really good. I love. Okay, here's what I got. You know what? I don't think I have a ghost story on here, do I? Let me just look through these real quick.
The Fog.
The Fog is a ghost story. Yeah.
But that's really it. That's all you, right? On
Yeah,
your
that's
list,
it.
On yours anyway.
Yeah.
Jeremy
took the Changeling.
Yeah.
And Poltergeist.
And Poltergeist.
And Poltergeist, yeah. And so between The Awakening, The Others, and then there's another one that kind of fits it that I just barely saw. And here's another one. Do I love this because I just saw it? It's called The Autopsy of Jane Doe. It's like 2 years old. It's got Brian Cox in it. It's the first movie that I thought was legitimately scary in years. Like,
Oh, wow.
my wife was hilariously freaked out the whole time we were watching it.
I haven't even heard of that.
So, so now just running those in my mind. I wish I had seen The Awakening again more recently because I think I'm going to rule out Jane Doe. The Mothman is a really good movie. It stars Richard Gere, which is why no one ever sees it, but it's a really good movie, I'm telling you.
Let the record state that Chris gave me a side eye when he said that's why no one sees it.
Jeremy just can't handle the Richard Gere. It's like, just think of Chicago, you know? It's
Or Pretty Woman.
Pretty Woman.
Yeah, speaking of those horror movies, okay, I'll take that out. I got just silence from the crowd.
It took me too long. That's a good joke.
Bringing it back around to the beginning.
Exactly.
Okay. And I actually really like The Woman in Black, too. But we're going with Mothman Prophecy. Oh, that was difficult.
All right. So, of the list that I made of all the things that I really wanted, there's some great stuff left. Child's Play,
Yeah.
both the original and the remake. The original Dracula, the original Nosferatu, Slither, Night of the Creeps, Final Destination, The Conjuring. I love The Conjuring, but it just
Conjuring was- Yeah.
the original Suspiria, which I love, Amityville Horror, Paranormal Activity. The Hunt was one I really debated on because it would go in miscellaneous for me.
I haven't seen that
And
yet.
I loved
It's
it.
in my queue, but I haven't seen that yet.
Watch it.
Is it good?
It's good.
Okay.
To me, this last spot came down between the original Chinese version of The Eye, which is fantastic. And what I ultimately have to go with, which is Get Out.
Get Out. Okay.
Nice.
Get Out comes over Dr. Sleep, huh?
Yeah. Oh. I love Dr. Sleep, and maybe in a year's time, maybe that would be reversed. But if we're also trying to put together, like, a list that has commercial appeal, I mean, Get Out was a huge smash, and Dr. Sleep,
Yeah.
I think I'm the only person that loved it. Me and my wife are the only one. Oh, and you loved it too, Parker.
What?
Dr. Sleep?
Yeah. Ren and I both love Dr. Sleep. I mean, I hadn't read The Shining or Dr. Sleep previous to it. I had seen The Shining many times, but the movie Dr. Sleep I really, really enjoyed quite a bit.
So good.
And I hated it.
Yeah. There
were aspects of it I liked, but we've kind of gone over this before, but it's probably my favorite Stephen King book I've ever read. One of my favorite books, really, ever. And I just felt like the movie did it dirty.
Gotcha.
It's not that it was different. I felt like they did it dirty, and I felt like they did it to accommodate Stevie's ego. So,
if Steve could just get out of the way of the making of his own movies.
So, Coach, you got to pick your coach.
You know who I'm picking.
I know who you're picking.
I know who you're picking, too.
That's funny. How many of his movies are on here? I'm picking John
Rob
Carpenter.
Zombie. Oh.
Hell no. Hey, I don't understand Rob Zombie because here's the thing. I saw him in concert once because I went to go see Alice Cooper, and we stayed for Rob Zombie and actually had a lot of fun. I know his music, so it wasn't like I didn't know the music. But I don't really care for his music. I like the song Dracula. That's about it. I think his movies are wretched garbage. I think they are some of the worst horror movies, all of them, that I've seen. And I just watched his Halloween remakes. I had seen the first one. I hadn't seen the second one. I just watched them both. And it reaffirmed my feelings about it. And yet, I think Rob Zombie's a cool dude. So I don't really understand. But the guy who made my favorite movie, I have my movies at home in alphabetical order on the shelf, except at the beginning are the John Carpenter movies, all in one spot. So, yeah, he's my coach.
Okay.
And the most recent movie he directed, it's been a long time, it was 2013, it was called The Ward, and it was really good. It was a lot better than... He had a lull there for a long time. Let's say that John Carpenter in the 80s, can I just draft 80s John Carpenter as my coach? Because that's who I just picked. And then we'll fire him after 10 years, and we'll get someone else. Who are you picking?
So my first instinct was to go with Wes Craven.
That would have been mine second, if not.
I really love a few Wes Craven movies, but maybe it's because I recently watched The Hills Have Eyes and didn't love it, that it kind of tainted it.
He's got a large body of work that's got all ends of the spectrum.
Yes. And so then I started thinking, who would I trust right now with my team? And I thought about James Wan. I really, really liked The Conjuring. I love the first Saw that he did.
Yeah.
But
they're both good.
Here's where I'm going to get my Dr. Sleep in.
Oh.
Mike Flanagan.
Okay.
I know you disagree, but I loved what he did with Dr. Sleep in turning it into a movie that is faithful to the book enough, but also a faithful sequel to The Shining. And I loved how he adapted Haunting of Hill House as the series. I just love what Mike Flanagan's doing with his adaptations, and so he's the coach that I would want.
That's cool. I was wondering if you were going to go Jordan Peele.
No, I thought Get Out was brilliant.
Yeah.
And I loved it. I really liked Us, and I thought it was really interesting, but I wouldn't list it in my favorites, and I don't know if I ever even want to watch it again.
Okay, you just brought up a good point. A lot of what shapes my picks are not necessarily what I think are the best movies, but I like to pick. I'm picking
the rewatchable
what movies I want to watch again and again.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Which is why I didn't pick some really good movies that just... Like, even that's where I struggled with Let the Right One In and that other one I was trying to think of, or that I was trying to choose between.
Twilight?
Twilight, yeah. I was just on the fence with Twilight. And A Girl Walks Home Alone at Night.
Yeah. Okay,
They're...
that was it.
Even, like, Let the Right One In, I think it's really good, but it's kind of a rough watch. It's slow. It's, you know... I can watch The Thing every year. I watch Halloween every year. I probably watch Friday the 13th at least once a year. So...
Hush is the other Mike Flanagan movie.
Oh,
Hush.
okay.
Hush.
Oh, I haven't seen Hush. He did that?
Yeah.
I want to see. So, in conclusion, first I want to say thanks, guys, for doing this. I do really appreciate it.
Yeah, it was fun.
This was fun. I have to say it did not go how I thought it was going to go. I thought we were going to... I don't know why. I guess maybe it's because we both just love these movies so much that we're too distracted by our love for our own movies that we're going after each other's picks. But we didn't get into it. That's okay. I had a lot of fun. Let's recap these teams just one more time. So the 39ers... 39... What the heck? 13ers... My team, the 13ers, coached by John Carpenter, younger 80s John Carpenter. We have Halloween, Freddy vs. Jason, Friday the 13th, Part 3, 30 Days of Night, Let the Right One In, Silver Bullet, The Wolfman Remake, Shaun of the Dead, Let Sleeping Corpses Lie, The Thing, Jeepers Creepers, Tucker and Dale vs. Evil, Tremors, Gremlins, Krampus, The Omen, The Fog, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre Remake, The Suspiria Remake, Drag Me to Hell, The Mothman Prophecy, or Prophecies, I can't remember. And then, rounding out the entire thing, we end with the sequel to Halloween, the newest sequel. And Jeremy's team, the Deadites, coached by Mike Flanagan. Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, Scream, What We Do in the Shadows, Fright Night, An American Werewolf in London, Teen Wolf, Night of the Living Dead, Return of the Living Dead, Arachnophobia, Evil Dead 2, Ready or Not, Happy Death Day, My Bloody Valentine, Halloween 3, Season of the Witch, The Changeling, Poltergeist, The Invisible Man, Dawn of the Dead, Silence of the Lambs, Get Out, and rounding off the sequel to his first movie, Friday the 13th, Part 2.
Woo!
So,
What do I win?
I think I won, clearly. I do. I feel that I won. You've got a few good players on your team, but... okay, all right, let's do this. I think Teen Wolf is weak. I think that Fright Night, not bad, but kind of a surprise. Dawn of the Dead is not moving the needle for me.
You've got movies that no one's ever heard
I haven't
of.
even seen Get Out.
Let Sleeping Corpses Lie. The Mothman Prophecies. Nobody saw that. It was not good.
What?
You brought Gremlins to play in the horror genre.
Did you think that was not a...
No, I do. I do think
I
that's...
was on the fence about
If you're
that.
gonna,
Chris,
if you're
I'm
gonna
trash
go Teen Wolf,
talking.
you gotta
I
go.
know.
I'm trash talking.
I know. I get all serious.
Jeremy has to break the fourth wall. Chris, I'm just trash talking.
This is where I get pissed and throw my...
I got the original Freddy and the original Jason. And Scream.
You won Friday the 13th, and you won Nightmare on Elm Street. I won Halloween.
I have the zombie movie.
Yeah, you do. I'm not even going to argue that.
The ghost movies.
Like I said, I could live without... What?
The ghost movies.
Poltergeist and...
Not the ghost movie, Parker. No pottery.
Oh,
You know what?
Silence of the Lambs and Get Out.
I can't believe
Oscar-nominated horror
I
movies.
can't believe neither of you chose
That means
Ghosts.
nothing
Now that
to
I'm
me.
thinking about it.
Oh,
Missed
Okay,
opportunity.
The Changeling is really strong. I took the Omen. I stand by the Omen and the Fog. I think they're both great.
But not as good as Changeling and Poltergeist.
I think I won the remake category.
Really?
Texas Chainsaw?
You haven't seen Invisible Man.
No, I have not.
That's true. You got to see Invisible Man. I think that the same argument that you just made about Suspiria will make you love The Invisible Man.
I don't think I've seen the original Invisible Man.
You don't have to. I've seen it. But you can understand the premise of the original. I just made that noise. Sorry.
It's okay.
I made my chair click.
No, it's good. You definitely won the Friday the 13th battle. That sucks.
Yep.
You don't have a Michael Myers movie, though.
Technically, I do, because he does pop up in Halloween 3.
Oh. Okay. But you don't.
And in Scream. Oh!
Scream's a good... Yeah, Scream's pretty strong. Yeah, the one area of mine that I'm like, Friday the 13th Part 3, just on its own, sitting there by itself, just doesn't shine, I'll admit.
Doesn't pop off the screen at you?
It does not. It's not Friday the 13th Part 3D. I still think I'd still take this. Maybe if I were to maybe second guess anything, I'd maybe switch that for Black Christmas. But no, though, because I already got 2 Christmas movies, and that's enough Christmas in my...
Well, I'm going to tell you this. I would not trade any of mine.
Is that right? Well, neither would
Confidence.
I. I've determined that already. I just said I wouldn't.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, I'm going to list some runners-up that I thought I might draft, but I wasn't quite sure. Dracula, Dead and Loving It. It's so fun.
Thought you would take it, and I was going to let you have it.
It's so fun. It's a vampire. I just realized it's really fun, but I'm so fond of these new horror comedies that I'm okay without.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then with vampire, it's like, yeah. But it's on there. For zombies, I kind of wanted Train to Busan. That one's really good.
Oh, yeah.
Same with World War Z. Both those were
Train to Busan.
considerations.
Yeah. That one's awesome.
Really good. Yeah.
That would have been on my list.
Yeah. Evil Dead was definitely... It was lingering. Child's Play, not enough. I just don't love it enough. But I do like Child's Play a lot. Yeah. I think those were probably my closest to getting in here. Oh, Wes Craven's New Nightmare. Part of me wanted to get one of those in there, but then I thought, no, Freddy versus Jason is enough for me. So, yeah. What'd you leave off, though?
I'm a little surprised that neither of us picked Alien.
Yeah.
I'm a little surprised about that.
It's such a great movie.
What would you have put that in? What category?
Monster.
Creature, yeah. You kind of have to, huh? What else would it go in? I mean,
yeah,
exactly.
I love Blair Witch Project. That's one that I debated.
That's a good one.
Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I know a lot of people don't love the movie, but
I do.
I love that movie.
I think it's fun. Yeah.
Creepshow is one that I absolutely love. Yeah, neither of us picked The Exorcist. No, I'm not terribly surprised.
Yeah,
your reasoning was sound on that.
Yeah, it's good, but it's...
I love Ghoulies, but it's just not a good movie.
Yeah.
The Grudge, I love The Grudge.
I was wondering if you'd pick The Grudge.
I loved the original Grudge. I loved the original American one.
Yeah,
I did not like Ju-on. I did not like the Japanese one. The Haunting, the original Haunting, is a great movie. Joyride. Joyride is a one that I absolutely love, but I didn't know what category to put it in other than miscellaneous. And Silence of the Lambs and Get Out or Joyride.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
This is just cropped in my head. I don't have any particularly positive or negative feelings about this movie. It's kind of like a What would you guys classify in terms of movies like The Happening? Or...
I hated it.
Pretend it doesn't exist.
Just put it in a garbage bin.
Definitely not horror. It's horror, but it's terrible horror.
A thriller, I guess? I don't know. I know. Sixth Sense was on my list of possibilities.
Yeah, that's a good paranormal one.
Yeah.
I scratch my head about stuff like The Happening.
I hate The Happening.
Yeah, I agree.
Here's one of the... So, this didn't come close because it really didn't... The only thing it would go in is miscellaneous, and... There was too many things above it, but I saw this just for the first time this year, The Wicker Man. But I really, really liked The Wicker Man. I watched the original. Yeah, I think it was really good, but it's a weird movie about a cult, and we didn't have a cult category, so...
That would have been a good category to have. cult category.
But there's not that many
you're right.
good
Some of these
you're
movies,
right.
they have a very
Yeah, I mean,
specific
just for the category
genre
for the sake of it in that case. Kind
so
of.
miscellaneous, and there's just too much better to
I
put in miscellaneous.
I really debated When a Stranger Calls,
Yeah, that's a good
the
one.
original, but I didn't know where to put it.
Yeah.
That's a great movie. Pet Cemetery, both the original and the remake. I loved both.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I thought you hated the end of the remake, right?
There were aspects of the end that I did not like.
Okay.
Saw. I love the original Saw before it became torture porn.
Same. The
Yep,
original
agreed.
Saw is a great movie.
Saw 1
and
is awesome.
If you're turned off to see Saw because of its reputation, the first movie is absolutely worth
Yep.
seeing, and it works fine as a standalone. And
Yep.
I begrudgingly watched Saw 2.
I'm
but,
hoping
like,
the new one they're making is in that vein.
Yeah,
I
me
really,
too.
really, and it seems to be. It really does seem to be.
Jigsaw kind of
Well,
course corrected a little bit, so hopefully the new
Yeah.
one will too.
Oh,
No, I'm thinking through the quick cuts of the trailer. The new. What do they call it? It's not labeled as a Saw movie. It's called.
I can't remember.
You know what I'm talking about? Chris Tucker.
Yeah, Spiral.
Spiral.
Is what it's
yeah.
called, I think.
I gotta
Chris
tell you
Tucker,
guys, the third...
It's Chris Rock, isn't it?
What did you say?
Chris Tucker.
Oh yeah,
Chris
yeah,
Rock.
it's Chris Rock.
Chris Tucker.
Maybe I would love to see a Saw movie with Chris Tucker. in it.
Is Jackie Chan in it? too?
Yeah.
Do all Chris's look alike to you?
No.
It's Chris Evans.
Chris Evans. It's Chris Pine, you idiot.
I gotta tell you guys, the third comedy that I was trying to... I knew I was gonna have to take Tremors. So I was debating between Tucker and Dale, Happy Death Day, and Little Evil was the other one that I was really
I
wanting.
really liked Little Evil.
Little Evil is brilliant, and it'd be a great movie to pair with The Omen, which I did take.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Hellraiser is another one that I was debating, but
Really?
I don't know that I love it enough to put it on this list.
I don't.
Are there movies that you guys think get way too much praise or that people like needlessly
Oh, that's a good
or
question.
The Exorcist is one.
The Exorcist? Okay.
I'm kind of there
It's
with The
good,
Exorcist, too.
but
I
it's
think it's
not-
worth seeing, but it's
Kinda-
so
Yes.
overloved.
Yeah,
and
okay.
admired.
One that comes to mind to me is when I first saw this movie, I liked it. It kind of snuck up on me as I went into it not knowing anything about what it was going to be, and I liked it for that reason.
Stop trying to bring up Twilight.
Cabin in the Woods.
Oh,
Oh, I like Kevin.
I did like Cabin in the Woods.
And I enjoyed Cabin in the Woods, but since seeing Cabin in the Woods, I have heard people like prop it up as just like one of the best. And like I don't know if I would endorse it that strongly,
Yeah, I wouldn't.
especially
That
now
seems
that
a
there have
little
been
extreme.
tons and tons of movies since then that like are very much in the realm of like tongue in cheek and some humor aspects, but also really good horror elements as well.
yeah.
I felt in more modern things, I felt that way about A Quiet Place. I thought it was fine, but I felt like it had a lot of hype that it just didn't.
I
Do it
don't
for
know.
me.
I don't know that
I
I would
liked
say A
it.
Quiet Place is a horror movie.
It's a horror monster movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another one that I really debated was The Purge,
Oh yeah. The
but
Purge.
I absolutely love the Purge movies, but they scare me to death because they're too realistic right now.
They don't seem
Whiplash,
so
man.
far fetched.
Yeah, Whiplash
Can't
is the
watch
scariest
Whiplash.
movie I've ever seen, but it's not horror.
It is to everyone listening.
To music people. Yep.
Oh, have you ever seen People Under the Stairs, Parker? Here's just a bizarre movie. It just wasn't high enough to make my list, but I love it.
Watch it.
Yeah.
It's on AMC. right now.
Underrated.
You can watch
Yeah,
it.
one movie that,
Underrated,
okay,
not
so,
overrated.
Oh, okay, it's not really a horror movie. One movie that I think maybe Chris is the only person I've recommended to who actually went and watched it, but it's not really a horror movie. It was Red Lights.
Oh yeah. I love Red
Um,
Lights.
I want to see it.
Kind of a
Just haven't gotten around
psychological
to it.
thriller.
Yeah,
I'd
I
say.
mean, you can't really talk about it too much without. Anyway,
Yeah.
I again just stumbled across Red Lights because I was like, oh, okay, Sigourney Weaver, Robert De Niro, Cillian Murphy. I was like, I haven't heard of this movie at all, and I watched it, and I loved it. I absolutely loved it, and I sang its praises for a long time, and no one really cared. And then I recommended it to Chris, and Chris wound up and watched it, and you said you liked it too. I think that's a movie that way more people should watch. It's
I
really
loved it.
good. And it's not a scary movie, really.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think that's gonna bring us to the end. Thanks again, guys, and to my listeners who have made it this far.
All none of you.
There are literally...
I have dozens of listeners, I'll have you know.
That have made it this far? No, you don't.
No, please email me and tell me who you think won.
There you go. Let the listeners decide.
Yeah, I don't know who you guys think won, so just let me know.
And don't feel biased that you have to tell Chris he won because it's his podcast.
I think they would feel much more biased than you lost, don't ever do this again. No, this was fun.
Yeah, tell Chris he lost, and then maybe he won't subject you to this anymore.
I would think if you're still listening, you were really into this. So
you'd have to.
Yeah, but I win. All right, that's good.